Hey everybody, in the El Sistema inspired movement, this is your daily Sistema Global video blog from the Los Angeles-based Take a Stand Symposium. We're about to have our afternoon conversation after an incredibly intense day that does include chocolate spilled on my shirt from the lunch. But before we begin with our usual panelists, I grabbed Marshall Marcus, who is the founder of Sistema Europe and the director, is that your title?
I think I'm chair, something like that.
At the EU Youth Orchestra. Anyway, I asked him if he would give us just a couple of minutes of summary of the presentation he gave to the whole conference today about basically the growth of Sistema Europe.
Well, of course, we're really encouraged with Sistema Europe because in 2 years we've grown from naught to about 30 countries of activity. But I think the important thing I wanted to try and get over today was it's driven simply by the kind of the passion, lack of fear of failure, having fun, getting together, not worrying too much about the rules. And I guess it's like a kind of catching the Latin virus. Right. That's what it feels like. I can't seem to get rid of it, and we can't in Europe. So that feels to me that's the characteristic I wanted to get over to people today, was just doing it. And so the film we showed of from Grafenegg and Vienna and Salzburg this summer of our first Sistema Europe Youth Orchestra summer camp. Well, you saw the reaction there. It got people going. That's it.
So here's this astonishing 2-year emergence and the interesting configuration that it's a network. Yeah. It's not an organization. It's not any signed-on official affiliation, sort of an institution. And tell me about the notion of how a network came to be.
It's fascinating this because my daughter works in network analysis, and I learned all of this from her. But the great thing about the network is that no single person or entity has ownership there. It's the group that makes up its mind what it's going to do. And so, the chairman, the chief exec, the director, forget it. It's funny, I was talking to Jamie Bernstein earlier today, and she was saying about this, she was saying, it's about giving away ownership. And I think that's such an important thing, and we try to practice that with Sistema Europe as a network, which is, okay, you're only there as, it's this idea of the servant organization. Actually, I think that encapsulates it. We're there to serve the individual programs in the countries, not to be Sistema Europe.
Just before we end, is there one other thing that's happened today that struck you that's worth sharing with colleagues that had an impression on you?
Yeah, I mean, actually, I want to pick something from yesterday, if I may, which was when Leon Botstein was talking. I think he talked about something really fundamental, which had not quite slotted into place in my mind until I heard him talk about it, and that was his notion that a lot of this is about bringing participation back to the audience, that we've kind of imprisoned ourselves of audiences in our seats listening, and what Sistema has done is to almost take us back 2 or 3 centuries ago to where there was that thing which you were there, a musician composed, a musician played, a musician arranged, a musician put on concerts and listened and wrote the program notes. And so our specialization has kind of killed some of that, and I feel like saying out there in the city we're all musicians, and that was one of my takeaways.
And that's what partly creates the distinctive feel of a Sistema performance event and the heart of Sistema work.
I think that's right. There is an extraordinary generosity of spirit that goes out from the platform to the audience. They're invited, the audience is invited in. Come and have fun with us. Isn't that great?
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be back with our everyday panelists in just a few minutes.